In studio with us from financewithshelby.com is Shelby Elias. Hey, man.
Yay.
Good morning.
First time we've seen and heard from you on the show since you became a dad for the third time.
Third time.
How's it going?
It's going way better than I would have thought.
What, is that because you're a pro? Your third one?
I mean, we just got dealt a good hand. He's a great little baby, he's sleeping, and it's just amazing.
The right temperament that you would dream and wish for?
Yes.
The one you wish you would have had first?
Yes.
Because
then I probably would have had 5 kids.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Yeah.
You don't want the good one first.
So you're sleeping, you're well-rested, you look well-rested. So, and how's the wife?
Awesome. We're super blessed. I mean, everything happened the perfect way that you would have wanted it to happen.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've actually talked a couple times over the week about this 11-year-old kid up in Washington State. He's named Jeremy. And the reason it's a story is because some jerk showed up at his lemonade stand. It's actually a lemonade and snack stand. With a $100 counterfeit bill. Gave it to Jeremy. 11-year-old doesn't know any better. Gives him $85 change. Then he finds out the bill's counterfeit.
Oh man!
So the story went viral, and the happy end part, as of this morning, I double checked, is they did start. There was a GoFundMe page started for him. He's now up to $24,000.
Oh wow!
But
I love that.
the reason I bring it up here is that we found out on the second day we talked about it, that it's a lemonade and snack stand that he's operating solely because he wants to get enough money to buy a vending machine.
Isn't that great?
And then he wants to ultimately have a vending machine business. Oh, and by the way, he's sending a portion of his profits to Ukraine. So it's like, this kid. He also, according to the woman who started his GoFundMe page, which is his neighbor, between his lemonade stand, he mows neighbors' yards and he shovels snow.
Oh my God!
In the winter because he has all these dreams.
I love this kid.
11.
Yeah.
Now,
Dang.
I know that your ultimate side hustle, everybody that's heard you, it's Airbnb. That we're going to talk about that. That's like a big shining star on the hill for a lot of people, though. But this kid is showing in a time where inflation came down just a little bit today in today's report. It's still at a 40-year high. We've got, 60% of people are paycheck to paycheck. We got people paying bills with credit cards. Side hustles are just, they're almost necessary. What kind of side hustles, short of Airbnbs, can you recommend? What can people be doing? Because I think there's a lot of people could be doing that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
That they could be getting some extra revenue coming in.
Yeah. I think, first off, everybody needs to understand that this isn't something that you just do when times are bad. You got to pick up a side hustle, right? I mean, I'll tell you some things, that I do. I actually Turo out my Tesla, my own car. I Turo that out.
What's that mean?
Turo is an application that you can download and you can rent your own car on there. So it takes like 2 or 3 days to submit your insurance and to get your car up, and you take your photos and you put it on the website. But I Turo my own car for $180 a day. So I have more than one car. So why would I not do this? I generate extra income every single month from a car that I have paid off. It doesn't charge. There's no gas, right? I make them go to the charging station, charge it up before they bring it back to me. It doesn't cost me anything, and it generates me income.
So, and you did all of that just on your phone? You were able to do everything on the phone. You didn't even have to talk to anybody?
Well, I had to go in and actually get my car inspected from them.
Okay.
But the same thing with my boat. Same thing. I rent my boat out.
Really?
Why?
You have a boat?
I have a $200,000 boat, and the boat pays its own payment. And, I shared this information with my other friends, too. I have a buddy that was thinking about selling one of his cars. I said, no, don't sell it. Keep it, and you can Turo it. Somebody else will pay your entire payment, and then you'll cash flow.
So if you're doing the car thing, do they come to your house and get the car? How do they get it?
You can schedule however you want. So you can say, I only want you to pick up at the airport. And then you charge them an extra $40, and you'll deliver it to the airport.
So basically, anybody that has anything extra that lying around that they're not using all the time, there's an opportunity. Whether it's as extravagant as a boat, or you're doing your Tesla for it's $180 a day.
Yeah,
and people are buying it for a day. Now, and then so people are going to be concerned. What about wear and tear? How are you protected that they're not going to junk your car?
Yeah, all of that is all in the Turo app. They cover you for insurance and everything. Even if they curb your rim, they'll fix it for you because they have an insurance policy that they pass along to you.
Where you have people meet you to get the boat.
So the boat is more a Tahoe thing because I have the house in Tahoe. I actually rented out my boat dock last month. Yeah, to Jamie Anderson. She's an X Games medalist. She rented my dog for the whole month.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
It was insane. I made like
Crazy.
$4,000 for nothing.
You literally did nothing.
No, nothing. I rented my dog.
So is it like a
So,
kayak,
I mean,
or are we talking like?
And so, but what I want everyone to understand is that this isn't like, oh, well, you're wealthy, so, no. Everyone should be doing these things. So if you're crafty, you can sell things on Etsy, right?
Oh, yes.
Etsy, you sell things. Like, you're crafty, go do it on there. If you, I just looked up something on, if you want to flip like a particular product, this is something that I did when I was younger, but I just looked it up because I was like, I wonder if this is still relevant. And it is. I looked up a Nintendo Switch. You can buy a Nintendo Switch on Facebook Marketplace for $250, and they go for $350. So what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to negotiate with somebody on this Nintendo Switch that they want $250 for. I'm going to get it for $200, and then I'll resell it for $250 because I know it's worth $250. And then you go and you resell it. You make $50. You do that 2 or 3 times a day. You're making a lot of extra money.
And you mentioned, and it reminded me. This is the one that I saw. I saw a commercial for last week, and I'm like, why aren't we doing that? Because this is like a no-brainer way to, with almost no effort, depending on what you have and how much of it you have, to make potentially a ton of money. You mentioned Poshmark, and there's ThreadUp, which these are basically online consignment sites where if you have clothes, decent clothes, nice clothes, brand name clothes, and they don't even have to be fashionable. I think Levi's, you're done with them. They're still in good shape or wearable shape. You can sell them online, and it's all handled. You just ship them out and everything. You could make a lot of money, especially with all of us who walk into our closet every day, and we look around and there's hundreds of articles of clothing, and then we go, I got nothing to wear. Because for whatever reason, we've grown out of it. It's not fashionable or whatever. People could be sitting on a gold mine with that type of stuff. Because Etsy, you got to have some talent maybe if you're going to do crafts. There's no talent involved here, other than you actually have other clothes or whatever. And you mentioned like even like depending on where you live, like dog breeding.
Oh, that's huge. I did that growing up. My mom. I mean, we lived paycheck to paycheck growing up. We even bred birds, lovebirds. My dad built an aviary in my backyard that had birds in there, and we sold birds out of my backyard at my house.
Wow.
But for dogs, same things. We had Maltese poodles, Shar-Peis, Yorkies, and we would breed dogs, and we kind of worked it out in a way to where it was like we had a certain dog for 2 years, and we would breed it, and then we would give that one away, but then we would want the ability to be able to get puppies from that one, and we would just keep working it. But man, it's insane. Some of these dogs these days, like these French bulldogs, are like $4,000
Oh my
each.
I'm aware.
That's crazy.
Some people are paying $3,200 for purebred Labrador retrievers.
What?
I
Who
know.
would do that?
I have no idea. Who would do that?
Do I know that guy?
Just 2 or 3 months ago. God.
No, but back to your Etsy point with the crafts. I think sometimes people that are crafty, they don't think someone's going to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
Because they tend to think everyone can do it. Because I have friends that are crafty.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, oh, I want to do this or this. I need to find this or this. Like, oh, you can do that yourself. No, I actually can't. So now I'm going to pay you to do it. And when you go on Etsy, for people like myself that aren't crafty in that area, we will buy that stuff.
Yeah.
You think it's no big deal because it took you 2 seconds to put it together and you think it's easy, but not for everyone. And you will, oh my God, Etsy is like such a great place for all that.
My cousin was really good at sewing, and they made organic diapers and made a killing.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's
crazy.
Because, I mean, organic diapers, that's like a big deal.
Right?
Phone number is 888-989-9811. You can email us, rad@radradio.com. We just got this one from Pedro. He says, Rob, I would gladly give you $180 to rent your Corvette for a day.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean...
Right?
I talked to Shelby a little bit more about this. By the way, do people still do things like is Avon and Mary Kay? Is that still a thing?
I know that there are other ones like that, but I don't know if they're the big one. But I did that growing up.
What is this? You told me something about a movie theater and a house for parents to watch movie story.
Oh, so my kids, like, I want to teach them this. You know, I grew up knowing that I can make my own money. Right. So that was something that really helped me in life. So for my kids, I don't give them anything. They have to earn it. So
Good for
they
you.
have to be creative on ways to find out how to get what they want. So what my son does is he sets up an art store, and he goes on and he learns how to draw from his iPad, and then he'll draw these photos. Then he sets up an art store and he hangs up all his art. He also does a movie night. So he treats me and my wife to movies, and he does tickets, and he does a ticket booth, and he sets up a movie in the other room, and he gives us popcorn. He sells us candy. It's crazy. And he sets us all up. He did a concert for our friends one day. We had no, and he comes up with these ideas all on his own because I want him to be creative about it.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of friends over one day, and he goes, "Hey, who's coming to my concert?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "I got a concert," and he
my
drew
God.
speakers. And he got boxes, and he drew all these speakers, and he set out chairs, and he charged all of my friends admission to his concert, and he sung the song "Should Have Been a Cowboy." That was the song.
That is
How old's this kid?
fabulous.
He's 7 now, but he started doing this when he was like
God.
5.
That is
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Our one of our goddaughters, her parents are raising them the same way, their kids the same way as you. Like, they need it. You want something, you got to figure it out yourself. And so Madeline, for the longest time, she started making candles. She just like got the kits and did it and put them all together, and I think she ended up on like an Etsy site, and we all were buying that stuff. And then she would go out herself,
Yeah.
to see, because it's like, your mom's not going to do it for you. Go find your customers. So you go out and find the customers, and then also find an outlet to be able to sell them. And I think she had wanted one of the phones. I'm sure one of the iPhones, and she made enough to save up.
No, it's true. Like, if you're crafting and you're on Etsy, you can make a ton of money, especially if you have something really creative. My sister does diaphanized animals, where she takes animals, skins them, and gets their skeletons, and then dyes the bones of the certain skeletons and sells them in little jars. And they sell like hotcakes. She can never keep her store stocked. And I tell her to quit her day job, but she won't.
That's the thing. There's a market for everything.
Everything.
Well, and stuff like that where you're filling such a specific niche is really smart too, because you're not competing with like 1,000 other people doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Me and my boyfriend, because he's a general contractor. He's really great at building stuff. So we've started building things for local drag queens as far as props or set pieces go, because I'm fashionably minded and creatively minded. So I do the decorating, he builds it, and then we're making some money on that. And then styling wigs has also been a really, really great resource for me and a couple other people I know.
Hello, Kaylee. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Since you guys are talking about side hustles, I just want to mention one that
Oh no, Kaylee.
You still there?
Oh,
Are you
Kaylee,
there?
sweetheart.
She must be Bluetooth malfunction, probably.
All right, call us back,
Shoot.
888-989-9811. So the big side hustle, especially for you, is Airbnb. We just
Yeah.
got an email here, rad@radradio.com, from Patricia. Says, I love Shelby's new Airbnb in Tennessee. I told my friend who works at Dollywood, and she's telling her customers and showing the pictures you posted on Instagram. When is it available?
Yay.
Oh, it's ready to go.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Is this the one where you were outbidding the other guy, and you wanted all the lots? And I know you do so many
Oh,
deals.
yeah. I was trying to do that one. Yeah. That one didn't come together, but same group. And this one I themed as like a bachelorette kind of, theme.
Oh, is this like the Chanel one?
It's all themed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it sleeps a ton of people. It'll sleep like 12 people, and it's great. Every single room's all themed out. It's awesome.
You can follow Shelby on Instagram. It's Shelby Elias, Elias. We got this from Juan.
Oh, it takes one to know one.
Brandon's from Mexico.
Says, I've tried Googling it. What is Shelby's property that he rents out in Lake Tahoe? I want to plan a family reunion. I would love to look into his spot. Any info would be appreciated.
That's emeraldbayvillage.com. And then we have properties in Incline Village, another property in South Lake Tahoe. We have properties on the water. I have a lot of them in Tahoe. So the best way would just be send me a DM on Instagram. Again, my name is Shelby Elias.
As we mentioned, one of the reasons for all these side hustles, Americans are, even though you made the point, it's always a good time for a side hustle.
Yeah.
But Americans are relying increasingly on credit cards to make everyday purchases and pay bills. Credit card balances surged by 13% last quarter, driven by the rising inflation. And a lot of people are asking, we talked a little bit about a couple visits ago, Shelby, what about debt consolidation, where you take out a loan to pay off multiple different types of debt? Now, you're not debt-free because you're paying off that loan, but you consolidate everything in. Is it a good idea? Hurt your credit score? Do you advise it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, right now is a great time. Interest rates on credit cards are so high, and when the feds have been raising the rates, that's what it's actually raising. rates, your credit card rates, your consumer debt, your car loans. So what you want to do is you want to look into your home's equity, refinance, pay that debt off. And right now is an awesome time because rates actually came down. So the last time that the Feds met and they raised interest rates, again, that's on a home equity line of credit. Those go up. Credit cards, car loans, all of that went up. And mortgage rates went down. So now APR is in the 4s again, which is phenomenal. I just ran a scenario on a $550,000 loan. If you bought maybe in the last 6 months and you have a 5.5 rate, if you refinance now, that would save you about $300 to $350 per month because the rates are back down again.
And that's just for recent people who have just bought within the last 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people, because when you told me, because I'm not in the market for that right now, when you told me that, I was like, oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense because everybody's been bitching about the rates, and now suddenly, like you said they would, they're coming down.
Correct.
And it makes more sense. Now, here's another thing that you've been talking about. This story I saw yesterday. The number of homes that were listed for a month or longer rose in July, up 12.5%, marking a shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Last time you were on, 3 or 4 weeks ago, everybody's freaking out. I'm never going to be able to buy a house, interest rates. Now they're saying it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
They're saying, economist Taylor Marr wrote in the report, buyers can take their time making careful decisions about homes without worrying so much about bidding wars, offering over the asking price, and waiving contingencies. It's a great time to buy a house.
It is. Yep. And what you want to do is you really just want to partner up with a good negotiator because right now is the time to find the scared seller, the person that maybe got crushed in the stock market, the person that has to move or, is just scared in general. You want to go and negotiate yourself a really good deal. There's 3 ways that I always try to buy. I always try to buy a property that I can buy below the current market value, so get a deal on it. Location is everything, so I want to find a property that's in a good location that I believe in, and I want to find a property that if I were to rent it out, can I at least cover my mortgage payment and cash flow in the future? So right now is the time to be able to do that. I
saw in this report, too, the Sacramento area has some of the highest percentages of homes that have been on the market longer than 30 days and the highest change in the last year. This report makes it seem like the greater Sacramento area has been flooded with inventory, which is something you've been saying was going to happen.
So the main thing is that, when you see some of these reports, you're like, oh, my gosh, it looks like Sac's falling more than anywhere else. It's all relative to the growth. We were doing the same thing before. It was like, oh my gosh, Sacramento is one of the highest, appreciation rates. So what you're seeing is it's the market retracting and, over the last 2 years, what do we get? Like 30-something% growth? Of course it's going to pull back a little bit. Like, geez.
Now, if it's a buyer's market, then how bad is it or how rough is it for sellers? Because you were talking about this last time. This same report said it's a different story for sellers who have spent years hearing about their neighbors' homes getting multiple offers a day. Now they need to price lower, get back to the basics of selling home, like staging, sprucing up, painting, etc. So people that are, quote, forced to sell for whatever reason, lifestyle choices, hardships, whatever, is that the right path? You agree with that guy there too?
It's exactly right on. You have to price your home right, so you have to select a good real estate agent that is going to know how to read the market and say, this is exactly what we should price it at. You don't want to price it high and hope that you get, what you want to price it right where you want to be and what you're okay taking home. And then at that point, you need to make all of the changes to make your house look the best. You want the buyers that are out there to be looking at your house. You don't want to be competing. You want your house to be the best house in that neighborhood.
And the trick to that, as you've talked about before, again, is the right broker, the person that you can hook them up with that can advise them on how to do that.
Yeah.
As opposed to just guessing, oh, I'm a great interior decorator, because the brokers are going to know what people are looking for.
Yeah.
And the things that you can step in. The realtor friends that I have told me just horror stories of things that people think are this really cool, great thing, but in the buyer's psychology turns them off of the house because they can't picture it as being their home.
Yeah.
They picture it as the seller's home and little tricks like that.
Yep.
And so if you don't know, you still contact Shelby and he can say.
If your aunt's brother is a real estate agent as a side hustle, then you might not want to go with the person that's doing real estate as a side hustle, right? You want to go with the person that does real estate every single day and is the best at their craft.
Yeah.
Back to the buyer thing, because we usually when you're on and some of the emails we come in, there's a misunderstanding about the difference between a direct lender and using big banks. A lot of people just go to the bank. They go to B of A or Wells Fargo, whoever they bank with. But what is the difference that you need to make sure people understand?
Yeah, right now is the best time in history to shop your loan, because these big banks, they're getting absolutely crushed. The reason why is because they have all these layers of management. They have a regional manager, a sales manager, a division president, right? All of them are getting paid on that loan. Well, how are they getting paid on the loan? Because they're putting it into the interest rate. So the interest rates, they're padding their margins. So if you qualify for a 4.5, they're selling you at a 5.5, and they're making all that additional rebate on your loan to pay the regional manager, the sales manager, the division president. And who do you think they pass the cuts on to? They still want to make their fat paycheck. So now what they do is they say, now our loan officers, we're going to make them sell higher rates. With us, we don't have any of that. We have no sales manager, no division manager, no. That's why people are amazed. They get contacted with me. Guess what? I'm the CEO. So I'm not paying anybody else out. So the difference in our rates, I kid you not, sometimes it's a full point in interest rate.
Damn.
And the only thing a consumer needs to do to qualify, this should be your number one key that you need to shop your rate. If your real estate agent goes, oh, you got to use my lender. Here it is. That's them. Okay, well, why? Let me shop this around. Not saying that that's not a good deal, but you still want to shop it around. Another one, you get pre-approved and the lender goes, don't let anyone else run your credit. You do not want. What are you talking about? I need to shop. Oh, well, if you do, then your credit score is going to go down. And no, that is a scare tactic. They don't want you to shop around because they don't have the best deal.
That's dirty.
So the only thing you need to know if you're a consumer looking for a loan is, what is your credit score? I already taught every single person how to look that up. Here's my credit score. Here are the parameters of my loan. I owe X amount. I'm looking to take cash out. And here's the value of my house. If you call me, I can work up a quote in 5 minutes and go, there you go. There's the best deal. And that's it.
And this is what we talk about all the time. We have Shelby on. Whether you classify it as dirty or taking advantage, what it is that when you're talking money and you're talking finance and you're talking interest rates, it's also intimidating. And people trust way too easily. And it's easy. We were talking about doctors yesterday on a totally different topic. It's easy for a person who has never been through the process or who's intimidated to have a lender say, yeah, don't run your credit. I mean, they're like, okay, yeah, the lender said this. And they go about it and they don't know, sometimes for years, that they missed out on an opportunity to save hundreds of dollars a month and tens of thousands of dollars over time because people get scared and they're way too trusting because we don't. Then you get into a whole bunch of commentary about it. We don't teach, we don't learn enough about money and all that other stuff.
Or it just might not feel right, but you don't have the verbiage for it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You just know it doesn't feel right, and if you say that to someone who, then they can just see you don't even really know what you feel a certain way.
Right.
I'm giving you the facts.
We got this email from Sarah. She says, I have 2 questions. I'm new to learning about how this house stuff works. If you recently refinanced and took out the money and you go to sell a year later, how does that work? Will your only profits of the home sale be the possible increase in value from refinancing? So you refinanced recently, you're selling the house a year later. Will your only profits of the home sale be the possible increase in value from refinance?
The profits of your home will be the difference of what your loan amount is to your sales price. So if you refinance, you pulled cash out, you went from a $100,000 loan amount and you pulled $50,000 out. Now your loan amount is $150,000. You sell it for $200,000, you net $50,000.
Bingo. If you are a homeowner, this is our other question. If you are a homeowner and you sell your home to buy a rental property, will you be able to buy another house for yourself relatively quickly?
You could buy them both at the same time.
Yeah, she's
you
thinking the way
primary,
you want her to, but she's doing it the wrong way. You want her to buy both.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to buy, homes and kind of stage your rental properties is you buy a house, you live in it, you put a low down payment down, and then in 1 year you turn that one into a rental, and then you buy another primary. That way you're never having to put 20% down. You're only putting 5% down or 3% down.
Jenna says, I've been looking to buy a house in Tahoe, but the insurance is insane. Do you have a workaround for that?
Man, my insurance went way up too. Yeah, it's brutal. But I mean, the best part about it is if you can rent the house out in Tahoe, it has two markets. It's amazing during the summertime. It's amazing during the wintertime. So the rents will pay your entire mortgage forever.
Amber says, as a single person with a single income, I'm wondering if paying off my car, it's about $7,000 owed, would negatively affect my credit score.
No, that would not negatively affect.
Would it positively affect, or is that a no-brainer?
Yeah, it should, yeah.
Mary says, could Shelby touch on how to get rural grants? I'm saving to do this, and any tips would be great.
Yeah, USDA loans are great for rural properties. You don't need to put anything down. It has a reduced mortgage insurance, but anything like Forest Hill would be rural. Placerville would be considered rural. So even some of these areas where it doesn't seem like it's necessarily rural, even Auburn would probably qualify. You can do 100% financing.
Glenn says, I also own a rental property in Incline Village I've had for 22 years. I've been approached a number of times to sell a fractional share of my home. Would you do this?
Oh, man, I like that. That's a very... Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of doing the same thing. So it's really cool if you sell a fractional piece of your property and you've owned it for a while for a couple different reasons. One, you get to sell out maybe a quarter share. And when you sell out that quarter share, you're selling at the highest price possible. So if your house is now worth $1 million and you only paid $500 for it, you're getting 25% of that and you're selling, you still own 75%. And you're selling off at a $1 million evaluation, but you still get to keep it. So it works really good with second homes because, you know, are you really even going to notice the fact that you just sold 25%? You're probably not up there all the time anyways. So there's a company called Picasso that does this. And I think that it's brilliant, especially if you have paid down, maybe you own the property free and clear, right? So what that means is you don't have a loan on it. Then you can sell off pieces of your ownership, maybe a quarter ownership to one person, another quarter to somebody else, and you can carry back the loan for them. So now you're the bank because you own the whole property. So like, hey Don, you want to buy half my house in Tahoe? It's worth $1 million. I'm going to sell you a quarter of the ownership for $250,000. Don't worry, you don't even need to put anything out of pocket. You pay me. I'm the bank. So your monthly payment is $1,500 a month. And you only own a quarter. Isn't that cool? So now I'm generating cash flow for nothing, and it's just a second home for me anyway.
Does this count as a deal because we're doing this on the radio verbally?
Oral contract.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. I love the concept. It's cool.
I love giving you softballs like this one. We just got this from Ariel. Says, I am currently renting and have been for about 10 years. My fiance and I are getting married next year. We want to buy a home. We have the first-time home buyer's loan that we can get, but we have no idea where to start. We have heard that this is a terrible market to buy a home in. We both have stable jobs. We don't have a ton to put down. Do you have any idea on where to start?
Yeah. So we're always going to look at three things: your credit, your income, and your down payment. Okay, that's what we're going to be analyzing. Now, you always want to base if it's a terrible time to buy or not based on what the payment is. So your very first step is we're going to go over those three things together, and I'll say, okay, based on what you gave me, your payment is this. If the payment is so high, terrible time to buy. If you're okay with the payment, then you're good. But there's nothing worse than paying rent because it's 100% interest rate. You're literally getting nothing for paying rent. So it's always a good time to look into buying or at least creating a roadmap.
And the answer to the question where you start is financewithshelby.com so that Shelby can get you started with his team.
Before I ever bought, it was so scary because you're thinking, oh my God, because you can't just move if you want to, right? I mean, you've got this mortgage, and it was so scary. And then I finally realized, but you know what? I have no control. Like, they could keep upping the rent. They could decide to. I get kicked out for whatever reason, right? Like the thought of having to keep moving is also terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's all those things still exist. And then you realize, oh wait, I've been paying on this for a year, so I could have been paying on a house for a year.
Yeah,
it always seems to work out.
Last thing, are you hiring?
Yes, we are. We are looking for loan officers, real estate agents right now. So if you're a loan officer, you're looking for some leads. If you're looking to grow your influence, we focus heavily on social media and educating clients. If that's you and you're a loan officer or real estate agent, please reach out.
He's on Instagram at Shelby Elias, Elias. You can DM him. Finance with Shelby.com online. Anything we forgot, new dad?
No,
All right,
I think we're good.
Get back to it. Shelby from Finance with Shelby.com.